What's going on, guys? Greg Bear here of Greg's Halfling Garden channel. In today's video, I want to give you a tour of my little homestead in the city of Binghamton, New York. With that being said, let's get started. Here we are. We can start at the flower bed on the south side of my house. Got a ton of hostas. We bought all these at Aldi's probably like 8 years ago now. It's been a long time. Got them in those little packets when they're just roots, and you know, they all made it. We probably have at least 100 hostas throughout the property. We're gonna see throughout this. Also got a clematis here. I got this at Walmart for 50 cents. End of season. They thought it was dead and it came back. I've had it for at least 6 years now. And of course I got my nice flicker flame tiki torch lights. I love those things. Got a nice salvia back there. There's a boxwood hiding somewhere back there. Got a azalea bleeding heart, which is about done for the season. Really nice old well pump. My grandma collected all these knickknacks. She passed away a couple years ago, so I got a lot of stuff around the property from her gardens now, throughout my gardens. Keep remembering her. All right, up here we have Honeycrisp apple tree, which one of these days I'm gonna move it. Doesn't get a lot of sun back here. Gets a lot of shade from all these giant maple trees. Starts to get sun around probably 1 o'clock, so it might see like 5 or 6 hours a day max over here. And over here we have the 2 Kefir pears. Gotta move these two, same situation. They don't get enough light, but they do produce pears. But they also lean a lot, so the deer can just grab these and pull them down. They've broken quite a few branches in the last years from that. Okay. Got this nice flagstone patio I built when I bought the house 8 years ago. And big garden. We'll get there in a second. I'm gonna give you the tree tour first. This is the first tree I bought for the property. It's a Reliance peach. Over here we have got some trees with those huge leaves on them. They produce like foot-long beans. They almost completely shade out this area till about 1 o'clock as well. But this will produce some, I'd say 2-3 inch peaches, a few of them. Got a squirrel problem. They like to just knock the fruit off but not eat it. It's kind of strange. Over here, this is a garden we're probably gonna move soon. Got a giant rhubarb, bunch of garlic that just comes back every year I never pull out, and a lot of asparagus that went to seed now. Our asparagus is about 3 years old now. We've been just letting it go every year, go to seed, and try to get it stronger in the roots before we start harvesting it. So next year will probably be the year we really start locking down and harvesting everything on that. Over here we have my Macintosh apple tree. This thing I bought probably about 7 years ago. Really thick trunk now. That's probably about 5-6 inches across. I never pruned it, so it had one main branch. Just left it the way it was when I bought it, so it's got the 3 main branches. This thing is pushing at least 15 to 20 feet tall now. I have a problem with the Asian codling moth on these, as well as apple maggots, I think it is, and a little bit of black rot. It's very hard to manage this tree. It's really large. One of these days I'm going to try to buy those traps for the apple maggots and all that and see what happens. If you look really close, if it'll focus, you can already see the holes from the moth boring into the fruit, so I probably won't get anything this year. I mean, if I do, if I'm lucky, maybe I can make some cider out of it. We'll see. Used to have a giant apple tree right here years ago. I actually cut that down because it was so diseased. Over here we have the columnar red rocket peach tree. This will produce full-size peaches, probably between 20 and 50 of them. Last year it produced so many that it broke off a couple of the really thick branches. I actually had this supported with a couple ladders last year as well. Love this tree. Little story, if you're new to the channel, or if you've seen my other channel, honestly, I always talk about this tree because I planted it on top of my tiger Oscar, which passed away about 6 years ago now. It was about 16 inches long. It was one of my first pets I ever had, besides like my family cat when I was younger, but he was pretty cute, you know, fed him goldfish. He was a cute little guy, and he passed away. He had that problem with the hole in the head after a while. I tried to treat it and it just wouldn't go away, and he just came home one day and he was just floating on the top. It was a sad story. But sad stories aside, got another peach tree. This is a Bella Georgia. This is a white flesh peach. Super sweet, not as flavorful as the Columnar Red Rocket, but just as good, of course, because it's a homegrown peach versus a peach you get at the grocery store that's been harvested months ago and stored in a warehouse. So get that nice peachy flavor, of course. Once upon a time, I had a nectarine tree right there. This last winter was very harsh on it. A lot of salt and a lot of ice buildup right here. I think it completely killed it last year, so I just chopped that down a couple weeks ago, sadly. It never actually got me fruit either because it was so small, and I tried to protect it every year. The deer would chew it down to nothing, then it would try to come back again. It did that a couple times. And then this last year it did great. It probably put on a foot in height and width and was doing great, and of course the winter just destroyed that. And here we are, the piece de resistance. Why I garden a lot is for this produce stand. This is kind of like my little side hustle here. It's a little empty than it was a couple weeks ago. People have been going wild because I sell stuff for $2 a six pack compared to stores where you pay between $3 and $5 right now this year. So people are really eating this up. Last year I only sold stuff for $1, but it cost electricity, gas, you know, everything has gone up now. So it's working out great though. I will save the amount I've made so far for a different video, probably just like the YouTube short real quick. It's pretty amazing this year. My record for this stand is $1,300 for a whole season, and I'm doing very well. You'll see in the next video, of course. All right, moving on up here. Long walk. Got a long, steep driveway. Keeps the salesmen and all the Jehovah's Witnesses away. Don't have any trouble in this neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I got a zoo right up the street, and great place to live. So coming up here, this is like a tribute garden for my grandma. At one point we did have a mountain laurel here that I dug up from her house. Sadly, the mountain laurel pretty much died this year. I don't know why. So we replaced it with some kind of lilac. I don't know exactly what. And of course, got a ton more hostas, some ferns. There's a salvia in there somewhere. That's that garden. Coming over here, this is my baby. This thing gets some good sun. I just put this addition on last year. It needed like a year to like settle in and the compost to break down. So last year it didn't do very well, but this year we're doing great. Got a bunch of blackberries I got at the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Oh, look at that. Another snake in there. Focus on him. Probably got about 5 snakes living in this compost pile, which serves 2 purposes. It's a compost pile, but it also insulates the side of my greenhouse on the north side, so I can put these plants in a little early every year. I can get these things in here in April and be okay. All right, distractions aside, this whole thing here is going to be planted with straight 8 cucumbers and Kentucky whatever number green beans, pole beans. We also have more blueberries and blackberries I got from that sale as well. I'm sure everybody has a sale kind of like that. They sell like the rooted cuttings for like a 10 pack for like 20 bucks. So I bought like 20 blackberries, 20 blueberries, 20 raspberries, and 100 I think blue spruce trees, which I planted all the way in the back there to create a nice natural wall there. Hopefully it'll work out. We'll see if the deer don't get them or something doesn't happen to them, which it usually does. And coming over here, got a few different varieties of pumpkins I'm excited about. You know, I've always wanted to do a pumpkin patch, but never really had the space until I added this expansion in. I think I've got like a Jack B. Little, some kind of ugly warty pumpkin I don't remember the name of, really dark red colored pumpkin, and then a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin as well, coming all the way across here. And this is what's left for going down at the produce stand. I've got more catnip, lupin, spinach. These aren't for sale. These are actually hardy hibiscus I grew from seed. I got them off Etsy, so really excited to see what those do. I only got 2 to sprout out of the 15 seeds I bought, but you know, take what I can get. I paid $8 for the seed with free shipping, so not too bad. This is cilantro. Got 4 things of lemongrass, some more Swiss chard, basket flower I think it's called, some kind of salvia, some dill. This is, gotta look, oh, delphinium. Ooh, the lemon balm, can't wait for that. Got black seeded Simpson and butter crunch lettuce. And we had a pretty hard rain and this thing filled up with water a lot, so I don't know if these basils are gonna pop back or not. I think they drowned a little bit, honestly, but we'll see. They might go back down at the stand. And, oh, another snake. I'm pretty happy this year with all the snakes I got. Really helped. I've had a mouse problem in my house a little bit. I'm sure they will take care of that and take care of all the pest insects as well. Now coming in here, I've got it all lined with Purple Beauty bell peppers. Got watermelon somewhere in here and Minnesota midget melon. For any of you guys that live in a colder climate, say like 5 and up, cantaloupes, they only get about the size of a softball, and I had huge success with them last year, so super excited about that. There's nothing like eating a cantaloupe fresh from the sun when it's still warm. It really adds to the flavor. All right, this is my setup. These are actually 10-foot T-posts. I put them 4 feet in the ground. I bought the auger from Harbor Freight, the Predator auger. I drilled that 4 feet down and lined it with concrete and put these in, so they aren't going anywhere. And I got it down there all the way. I'd say it's about 30-40 feet and some in between, and I got lined with a 125-pound test fishing line. And this is what I use to grow my tomatoes. If anybody doesn't know what the Max Tape Inner gun is, it's definitely a great tool if you have a large garden like mine. It is a little expensive, but well worth it. It's basically a tape gun that makes these loops right here and staples it all in one instead of like using string or something. It saves me a ton of time and well worth the price. It's a big price up front. I think it might be between 80 and 100 bucks. Then you go buy the certain size staples. You can usually find the plastic green tape like this at pretty much any ag store, like Agway, Country Max, Tractor Supply probably, anything like that. It's just a 1/2-inch tape, and it varies in thickness for what you want to use it for, between like grapes, tomatoes, watermelons, or whatever you're growing vertically. So this whole row and this whole row here are all Juliet tomatoes I got from Johnny Seeds. It's an F1 hybrid, very resistant, but will still get forms of blight. But instead, from a regular tomato, which the blight usually just kills it off and it won't produce, it'll still thrive very well and produce tomatoes till the end of the season, even when it's covered in blight completely and it looks like it's half dead. So great tomato. The only problem, of course, you can't save the seeds because it's an F1 hybrid, so it reverts back to what it was before they hybridized it. Crazy stuff, I know. But looking down here, I've actually had tomatoes since mid-May. These plants have been super nice. I started these probably maybe early to mid-March under my grow lights, and yeah, put these out, I'm trying to think here, sometime around May 12th, I think I planted everything in the ground right after the last frost. I dodged a huge snowstorm we had at the end of April. I usually plant in the beginning of May, so that could have been really close. Okay, coming up here, got my dwarf Cavendish banana. I bought that when I was in Orlando, Florida. For any of you guys that live up north, going to a Home Depot down south is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. Instead of seeing like all the usual apple trees, pear trees, and peach trees, you see orange trees, lemon trees, grapefruits, guava, mango. It's like a freaking paradise down there. If I had more room in my car, I'd bring way more home just to keep inside, because if you try to buy an orange tree anywhere in the north, you're gonna pay like 80 to 100 bucks, where down there it's the price of like an apple tree up here, which can be like 30 or 50 bucks for a 5-foot tree. So it's a steal. Over here, got more green beans and different kind of pumpkins. You know, I didn't mark which pumpkins are where, so I couldn't really tell you. All I know is I have one planted about every 3 feet. They're just gonna sprawl out here. It's gonna be hard to walk, but I do it every year, so it works out. Over here we've got yellow squash and zucchini planted. If you haven't seen my video or know about using BT to stop squash borers, go ahead and watch that. I'll put a link in the description below. Don't want to give too much away, you know, try to watch the other video, give me a little support here. It's a great video and it actually works if you have that problem, which I do every year. They love my squash, but this problem will be no more if you watch that video, of course. Right here we have a 3-in-1 apple tree. Let's see what it is. Okay, Dayton, Ashmead Kernel, and Liberty. I picked this out because I had a problem with cedar apple rust disease, which is basically a disease that forms a symbiotic relationship with an apple tree and a certain type of arborvitae, which my neighbors have over there. It makes these octopus looking galls that form on the cedar tree and then release all the spores, and then it gets on the apple tree, and underneath the leaves later in the season you'll see a bunch of spikes there. So this will hopefully counteract that disease a little bit, but you know, with my luck it won't. I paid I think about 50 bucks a piece for these. I got one here and one down there, and free shipping and all that. They came in, they look great this height with all the roots intact and everything, and they popped up as soon as I planted them. So this is, yeah, second spring with them now. They're doing great. All right, coming down here, of course, second apple tree. This is my Red Delicious apple tree. I'm honestly thinking about chopping this thing down. It never actually flowers anymore, sad to say. It's a beautiful tree, but it's just shading everything out and has no purpose besides being a tree, of course. But it's beautiful and I'd feel bad, but I might have to. Coming over here, we have a seeded Concord. This is its third year, maybe. I think I got this at Walmart or something. The ones that come in like the little bag for like $5. So this is what one can become if you really take care of it. I'm probably gonna might get half a bushel off of this year. I had a great year last year and it's like twice as big as it was last year at this point. And of course I got a ton of blackberries, different varieties. I couldn't even tell you what they are anymore. Some have thorns, some don't. This whole side's pretty much blackberries right there, right there, right there. That's my one blueberry bush. I've bought probably close to 30 blueberry bushes in my life now. Tried all different kinds of soil mixes, you know, mixing it with sand, peat moss, compost, different topsoils and such. I bought blueberry bushes straight from Hammondsport, New Jersey, which is like the blueberry capital of the world from, I forget the name, it's a very famous place. I bought like 25 from there. They're like 10 bucks a piece. They looked great, and of course, there's just something wrong with my soil. I didn't blame anybody else, but the good thing is, blackberries and raspberries, they grow very well. Crazy well, actually. When I show you the other garden, you know, I started out with one Heritage Red Raspberry I got from Tractor Supply years ago, and now it's covering half my garden. You'll see in a second. It's wild and it produces some huge raspberries. They look great. All right, that's the berry patch right there. And over here, this last row of tomatoes, this is called Old Brooks. It's another hybridized tomato that has some resistance to blight. Same thing with the Juliet. It'll still get it, but it won't slow it down as much, of course, and we'll still get tomatoes to the end. And these tomatoes are just like a standard globe-sized tomato, you know, like a 6-ouncer, not like a giant beefsteak, not a cherry or a plum. Oh yeah, these Juliets, of course, they are kind of like a plum tomato. They look like a teardrop. They'll be about 1 ounce to 2 ounces-ish. And I sell those down there in, like, you know, those plastic mushroom containers you get from the store, because I eat a lot of mushrooms, so I reuse the containers. I sell those for $2 a piece down at my stand, and people buy those before I even put them down there. It's insane. I think this year is going to be crazy as well, just judging by what the plants I've sold this year. I'm so excited. Alrighty. Putting some paint stripper down on my deck right now, so I got some plants everywhere, but down here got baby's breath. I grew these marigolds from seed. These are some nice black petunias. I've never seen these before. It's like a pirouette petunia, so I'm definitely going to try to save these seeds. Pretty insane. Just beautiful. I got these from the Painted Daisy, tiny little shop in Conklin, New York. Anybody knows what that is? Probably not, but I love them. Over here we got some lemon million bells, if I'm saying that right. And over here got some coleus and some different petunias. Got a purple tomatillo and a sun gold tomato. A few peppers, Gerber daisy, some more coleus. Yeah, I think it's a vanilla cream marigold. I forget what type it is. And over here, got my solar powered fountain. Love this thing. Found it on Amazon for like 40 bucks. Has a 5,000 milliamp battery. It'll last like 4 hours after it gets dark, and it has a light in there, so I'm pretty happy with that. And of course, I got tiki torches everywhere because I love these things. And this thing is mostly hostas and a couple boxwoods over here. Coming over here, this is my old garden, and here is the gate. Why I named my channel Greg's Halfling Garden channel, of course, for my love of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Coming in here, got the archway I got from Aldi's. Still holding up. I had to spray paint it last year, got a little rusty, but still doing well. I like to grow cucumbers and beans on that. Over here we've got some sweet corn. It might be peaches and cream if I recall. Over here we got different kinds of butternut and acorn squash. This is a colander apple tree. It'll produce full-size apples, but stays this thin. It's really good for small spaces like this. This is another one the squirrels like it to attack but not eat the fruit off of. Very strange. Got another one over there. That one doesn't get quite as much light, just like maybe an hour's less, but it's way less bushy as this one, as you can tell. Like that to that. Crazy difference. And over here, got a huge patch of garlic, which is getting a little out of control at this point. Like I said, I bought the apple mint years ago. This whole thing is covered in apple mint, as well as over there, over there. I've taken wheelbarrows of this apple mint out of here, which I planted on the bank where the Honeycrisp apple trees are to help, you know, suck up some water here and there, but it just keeps coming back. Not complaining too much. It smells good, especially when I mow. I got some Stargazer, God, I can't remember the name of this. Got these at that sale too. They produce some really pretty purple flowers, but they don't last too long. Not a huge fan of them, honestly. Down here, got another acorn squash. I got random strawberries everywhere. This whole side used to be a strawberry patch, which I got rid of because they just don't produce enough. But I left a few so I can, you know, have the runners, and I sell the plants for $2 a piece, so pretty easy side money. Right here, this is my dwarf sun gold nectarine. This thing will produce fruit. This year it didn't flower at all, which, not complaining. It needs a break to grow some foliage, which it looks really good this year. It also has a problem with the Asian codling moth. So this one I can probably manage and actually spray it well compared to the full-size trees over there. So I might go pretty hard on this next year so I can try to get fruit on it, because the one time I did try the fruit with a little piece that didn't have like disgusting animal frass all over it, it tasted amazing. And of course, best for last, solid raspberries as far as the eye can see. This whole patch right here, which is about 10 by 5, is straight heritage red raspberry. Then I've got a few fall golds mixed in there and more heritage red. Got a few gooseberries and black and red currants over there. And that is pretty much it. And then of course some random strawberries all throughout here. That is it. And over there, I got a small herb garden. Got different kind of mints. I think I have chocolate mint, lemon mint, pineapple mint, strawberry mint, apple mint, spearmint, and common mint, as well as lemon balm, oregano. I'm trying to think. Some kind of, I don't know which kind of rosemary. Might be, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Some kind of sage and some kind of chive. Might be garlic chives over there. And that's really it. Oh yeah, got an Asian pear over there. That one's interesting. Every year, if we have a dry spell of more than a few days and then it gets like rainy out, the fruit will actually crack because the plant doesn't know what to do, and it like uptakes all the water and then puts it in the fruit, and the skin can't take it and it cracks. I'm hoping eventually, once the roots go deep enough where there's like a constant supply of water, this problem will stop. That tree's about 6 or 7 years old at the time now, so, you know, give it a few more years and try, because it can grow pears that are full size like you get at the grocery store, but with the cracks on them, they're pretty much worthless. But if they weren't, I could probably get a bushel off of that every year and sell them, because Asian pears go for a pretty penny at the store, and I actually love to eat them anyway. So that is that. I think that covers the whole garden tour now. So with that being said, if you like this video, definitely try to give it a like if you want to see more. Definitely consider subscribing to the Greg's Halfling family and become one of my halflings. And of course, try to turn on that notification bell with notifications on always. And I hope to see you guys all next video. Greg Bear out.